Good news for Joe Mixon, plus the preseason game number 2 is on the way. What should we expect from the Bengals? What starters will play and more. Our official Bengals-Falcons game preview starts right now. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. And on Thursday morning, Joe Mixon got the news that he was expecting, that the Bengals were certainly expecting. The charge that was against him, the aggravated menacing charge, was dismissed. He was found not guilty, rather. But the point is that Joe Mixon can get back to football, like his agent said. The Bengals released a statement endorsing Mixon in his 7 seasons here and said they were looking forward to him continuing to do what he's done over the past 6 seasons for the team. And obviously, I think there's some pressure on him after taking that pay cut last month to perform at a high level. But now it looks like he can move on and pay attention to that. If you're looking for more on the case, on the trial, all of those things, you can check out allbengals.com. With that said, the Bengals, they head to Atlanta. They play the Falcons on Friday night. We will have your post-game coverage right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. But let's preview this matchup because there's a lot of storylines that are going into this matchup, starting with the Bengals defense. The Bengals are going to play their defensive starters for 1 series, not 2 series, not 3, 1 series. So if Desmond Ridder throws an interception on the first play of the game, well, then that's it for the Bengals defense. If they drive 10 plays, 52 yards, and kick a field goal, well, then the Bengals will get their wind tested a little bit, get that conditioning up. And I think in a perfect world, that's what the Bengals would want. Maybe not to give up points on that first drive, but for the Falcons to move the ball a little bit, or for the Bengals defense to find ways to just be on the field for multiple plays for a variety of reasons. One, Dax Hill and Nick Scott, they're going to play together for the first time. It would be nice for them to get tested by a Kyle Pitts, by a Drake London, 2 guys that have good size. Naturally, Desmond Ridder is going to try to target both of those guys. And so that's something I'll be watching for. The other thing is DJ Turner probably going to get the start at cornerback alongside Cam Taylor-Britt and Mike Hilton. How does he come up in the run game to tackle Bijan Robinson or Tyler Algier, right? How does he come up in coverage against a guy in Drake London who is huge? And not just for Turner, but Cam Taylor-Britt as well. Cam Taylor-Britt is physical, but he isn't Drake London. He doesn't have that size that London has. So it's a good test. Not saying Cam can't do it. I'm just saying these corners will get tested. I think a lot of people look at this Falcons offense from afar that haven't paid attention to the moves they've made in recent years and just think it stinks. But I like some of the pieces that they have. And so the secondary, how does the secondary react to this Falcons team? It's certainly interesting, but the Falcons are a run-first team. And we know what the Bengals front 7 brings. I don't think there's any questions there. But will DJ Turner be able to come downhill and make a play on Robinson? You obviously want to continue to see that from Dax Hill. I've seen that in camp. I've talked about it during our camp reports. And how do they use Hill and Scott? Will Hill be that deep safety again, even though Scott's been that way in practice? Will they alternate? Will it move around? We may never or not get the answer to all of these questions on Friday night, but certainly something that I'm paying attention to. I'll get more to the defense in a second and discuss the defense, but let's talk about the quarterbacks because that's really the biggest storyline going into this game. It's not first-team defense. We pretty much know what this Bengals defense is going to look like. Obviously, Chidobe Awuzie isn't going to play, so part of the Bengals D is not going to be on the field as he continues to recover from an ACL. I think he's ready to go to practice in full. Hasn't done that yet, hasn't done team periods, is doing everything else. That said, these 2 quarterbacks, one of them has to emerge. Trevor Siemian, Jake Browning, someone has to emerge, and maybe it's Reed Sinnett, or Sinnett, excuse me, is how you pronounce it. I'm kidding about that to a degree, but maybe he gets snaps if these 2 guys struggle like they did last week. And Jake Browning was good for most of the first half, was 10 of 13 at one point, was efficient, and then you look up and he's 10 of 17 with an interception and wasn't efficient and had some inaccurate throws, and it was just like, it really spiraled on him in that first preseason game against the Packers. And it really spiraled on him during Wednesday's practice. And those inconsistencies have kept him from leapfrogging Trevor Siemian, because I thought Siemian was the favorite coming into camp, but he has not delivered on that up to this point. He will get the start on Friday night. And so this is Siemian's chance, I think, to take a hold of this job and rein it in a little bit after Browning has put a scare into things, not because he's been great, but because he's flashed his potential at times. And I think it's been better. His higher end has been better than what we've seen out of Trevor Siemian. So can Siemian, with guys like Andrei Iosivas and Charlie Jones and probably Trent Irwin for a drive or two, and obviously all these other receivers that he has behind those guys, can he show that he's the man for the job? This is a huge, huge battle, something I will be monitoring. Let's get into some other aspects of this game, because the pass blocking role, Travion Williams not playing on Friday night, and so hopefully he's back at practice on Sunday or Monday and can get moving and things going in the right direction with that right ankle injury. But Chris Evans has shown some flashes of being a solid pass blocker. Will that continue to translate to the game? Will he continue to be their lead back? What will we see from Chase Brown? Those are two guys that you're hoping to see a lot out of over the next couple of weeks, certainly on Friday night, in the Bengals' quest to find that Samaje Perine-like backup that can do a little bit of everything. And odds are it won't just be one guy, but you need to find someone that you trust as a pass blocker behind Joe Mixon. I mentioned the receivers. I'll definitely be watching Charlie Jones. I think he's looked really good in training camp. It didn't translate to the game last week. Hopefully it does this week for him. Iosivas certainly flashed his potential, had 4 catches, could have had way more, was really close on a couple last week. We'll see if that changes for him. And then let's get back to the defense, because I think that there's some interesting trench developments on defense and on offense, and we will do that in just a second. But football is back, and so is winning season at MyBookie. NFL, college football, and a brand new cash-out system give you the best options to bet and win all season long. Use early cash-outs as a tool to stay in control of the action at MyBookie. And to get started, all you have to do is go to mybookie.ag now and register for an account for free. And when you go to make your first deposit, use promo code BengalsTalk to grab a welcome bonus on the house. That's promo code BengalsTalk at mybookie.ag. And let's say the first 2 legs of your parlay hit, you can cash out early and use the funds on another bet, or let it ride at a chance for an even bigger payday. You can bet on anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. So go there now, MyBookie, and promo code BengalsTalk. Let's get to the trenches, and I will get to the offensive line in just a second, but I teased the defensive line, so let's start there. Obviously, the first team is playing. Myles Murphy, what do we see from him after those guys leave the game? How much is he used? Where is he used? Zach Carter, would love to see some splash plays from him. But last week, Jay Tufele and Dominique Davis were both really, really good on the interior. Can they double down on that again and back it up this week? Tufele feels like a roster lock at this point. We will see. Dominique Davis is trying to show everyone that he is worthy of a 53-man roster spot, either in Cincinnati or elsewhere. So those are 2 guys I'll be looking at. Terrell Basham, does he suit up for the Bengals? Do they try to get him out there? I think he's on the outside looking in of the 53-man roster because of injury. So what happens to him? I think that's interesting. We've talked about the secondary a bit, but does Sidney Jones play? He's missed practice all week long. So will he play on Friday night? I think that's a big one, because guys like DJ Ivey continue to make plays. Alan George certainly trying to make an impression on this defensive staff and a case for the 53-man roster. And then on the flip side, offensively in the trenches, this needs to be the Jackson Carman game. He needs to show that he is that dude. He needs to show that he can be a quality tackle in this league. And the first step of doing that would be to consistently play at a high level this week. He showed flashes last week, and I think he's a solid run blocker. He's got good power. The pass protection, certainly questionable. He clearly lost focus when he went back in there in the 4th quarter against the Packers. So Jackson Carman, I'm looking at you. Deontay Smith, can you continue to build on what you've done? And then on the interior, Trey Hill, Max Sharping, Ben Brown, Jackson Kirkland. All these guys are battling for either center or guard jobs. How will those guys fare? Cody Ford is in that mix. There's just a lot of dudes. And so there's a lot to watch. and we will be monitoring it all, watching it all, and recording right after the game right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk, my instant reaction and takeaways from the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and if you missed any of our coverage this week from our one-on-one with Orlando Brown Jr. and an event that we're going to be putting on alongside Orlando next week, and all of the details on that are on that video, make sure you check that out. Our one-on-one with Jamar Chase, at least Jesse talked with Tyler Boyd, all of our camp takeaways. Check all of that out right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. And I will talk to you Friday after the game, barring breaking news, because when there's breaking news, we have you covered right here on CBT. So for Andrew Fox Miller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien, signing off for now on CBT, Cincinnati Bengals Talk.